everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Africa Thrive Live. In case you're new here, my name is Naomi Kirungu, one of your hosts today.
Hello, everybody. My name is Irene, and I'm based in South Africa. And I'm very, very excited that you've joined us for another episode of Africa Thrive Live. Naomi, we've got such an exciting guest. But before we get into it, wherever you are watching us from, we want to know whether you're joining us from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Send the link to your family, people that you work with. Let everybody know that we're live. Introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe your business. You never know, you might make a connection in the chat. So please go ahead, introduce yourself, Naomi.
Yeah, Irene, like you said, I'm really excited about our guest today. I just saw this headline on a local newspaper, from shop to empire, from one shop to empire. I thought, wow, like she built a business from literally one shop to a conglomerate of businesses. So I'm really excited and I have my notebook ready. I hope you do as well. Get comfortable, get that chai or coffee or tea from wherever you are. Go ahead and get comfortable. There are going to be such nuggets of wisdoms being shared today. So as you introduce yourself on the comments and we give you shout outs, allow me to introduce AMI to those who are new to the broadcast. So AMI, which is an abbreviation for the African Management Institute, we are a Pan-African organization and we exist to enable ambitious businesses from across this continent to thrive. And we do this through practical tools and training. So in case you're part of our Thrive community, or in case you haven't interacted with the programs that we have a flagship program that supports SMEs and it's available on full scholarship. That's the Survive to Thrive program. It's a 6-month program that's very, very practical and it's designed to equip businesses at this particular time with the skills they need to just thrive and grow and survive. Yeah. So as a quick introduction, allow us to just play this quick video for you to get to learn more about this program. Let's watch this.
My name is Guseto Bunde. I'm the CEO of Meet You Enterprises from Benue State, Nigeria, and I'm an alumni of the AMI Survive to Thrive program. We're into provision of food services, we do events management, and one of our impacts has been employment generation, specifically for young girls who are trying to transition between schools and lack resources to do that. The lockdown did not affect food businesses. They were considered essential sector. So the federal government announced that the food sector could continue operations, but adhere to strict COVID-19 protocols. And we stayed open, but only for a little while. We had no customers to go to. Sales dropped. It became a challenge to pay staff salaries. And then we closed shop for a couple of months, even though we had the license to be open. We needed a new strategy, a new way of thinking to manage all of this. And then as the lockdown was being eased, I saw Survive to Thrive. Survive to Thrive. I received an email because I think I've been subscribed with them since 2016. So it was like, this is it. This is what I need. So immediately I opened the application, started putting myself together for the application criteria. We start businesses hearing if you are a startup, you are the owner, you are the cleaner, you are the CEO, you are the cook, you're the chef, you're everything. So you take on so much and you don't have time to step out and look at the business environment generally and look at factors that you can influence. So the AMI program opened my eyes to see what I need to do first as a person, as an individual, then as the owner of a business, then as somebody who has people, a team that can build resilience for any other disaster or pandemic that could come even after now. Then you plan, you attend AMI sessions. By the end of the day, you realize that the notes you have taken have turned out to be an action plan, which if you take the steps judiciously, you actually get to thrive and do better in business. It was the right time for the program.
Yeah, so in case you're an entrepreneur and not part of the program, do join us. The links is on the screen and also on the comment section of whichever platform you're tuned in from. So like we promised, we want to give a shout out to some of the businesses that are represented here today. Welcome Samuel Muriuki. He's watching us on Facebook. We have Abdullahi Masood on YouTube. We have Pauli Kote, all the way from Windhoek, Namibia. Welcome. I don't know if we've had someone from Namibia. Irene, have we? Pauline, welcome. We have Aminata from Sierra Leone watching us from Facebook. Welcome,
Wow.
Aminata. Yeah, we have Unathi. He's watching on LinkedIn. Unathi Sonti. Irene, have you seen her become so fluent in pronouncing people's names? This is getting
Unati.
easier.
I'm going to correct you there. It's Unati.
Oh,
I know he's South African, so
Yani,
let me take you.
Yeah, I was feeling so proud. Yet,
But well
no.
done. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Harun also on LinkedIn. He's from Kilifi County in Kenya. Welcome, Harun. We have Chooks. Don't know if I mentioned them. He's based in Nigeria, and it's good to have you here. Wow, we have Benson Mwangi from Laikipia County. You're welcome. We have Judith. She's watching from Nairobi, and she's a virtual assistant and a fitness health coach. Welcome, Judith. Wow, we have Yvonne from South Africa, Gilbert from Cape Town, Alex from Kenya. So many people are tuned in. We have Fidei on LinkedIn, Friday Adejo on LinkedIn. He runs a business that's called Etc. Designs Limited, a virtual communications agency. Janet Okoye, it's nice to have you here again, Janet. We have Throwback from Langata. They are a coffee farmer. So nice to have you guys, and keep your comments coming. We want this session to be really interactive. So send in your questions. We are going to try and get as many of them answered. Irene, you want to take us away?
Yeah, sure. There's an interesting thing that's happening in South Africa. And in case you don't know, in case you're not in South Africa or haven't heard, it's Women's Month in South Africa. So we basically celebrate all the achievements that women have made and are making. So the wonderful strides that the women in our continent are making. But it's not just a reminder, Naomi, for just South African women. I believe it's also a great time to be acknowledging the great strides that women across the continent are making. And I love how women are coming into their own in the entrepreneurship space, owning their space, owning the arena. So one of the beautiful quotes as I was going through this and thinking about the intro was something that our guest tonight so elegantly put it. She said, own your femininity. It's easy for men to embrace their masculinity in the workplace. Men on the chat, I'm sure you can agree with me. Women, however, should learn to be themselves and never change their life to behave like men in order to be successful. Trying to be someone else will be your undoing, as you temper down the positive attributes that come with being the fairer sex. So women, wherever you are across the continent, own that femininity. Your superpower is in who you are. So that's a brilliant quote by an amazing woman that I'm very honored and privileged to introduce. So our guest tonight, in case you haven't seen any of the billboards anywhere, our guest tonight is a business maverick who in her own way has challenged the status quo. I would describe her as a boss lady who has conquered unimaginable mountains, especially in the world of business and investment. She has built the Samchi empire that spans telecommunications, microfinance, property, and hospitality sectors. She has cemented herself as one of Africa's foremost entrepreneurs. Wow. In 2017, she received the Global Inspirational Woman Leadership Award. And in the same year, she was inducted in the Amazon's 100 Global Women Leaders Hall of Fame. Guys, I am so honored. Wherever you are, I don't know if you can put your hands together, use the emojis as Naomi always says. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and my pleasure to welcome Dr. Esther Muchemi to Africa Thrive Live. So wherever you are, help me welcome Dr. Esther.
Can I ululate? Very African thing to ululate.
Dr. Esther Muchemi, welcome so much to Africa Thrive Live, and thank you for honoring us with your presence.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted.
Yeah, so there's so many amazing accomplishments. I can't even say the word because you've done so much as a person, and there's so many things that we can read from your bio. But how would you describe yourself in your own words?
Wow. In my own words, I think I'm just a simple person with a very simple background, but daring to go out there and achieve and go for my destiny and what I believe I am created for. I am a mother of 2 children, and I'm the group CEO of Samchi group of companies. But above all, I am a Christian and I love God.
Wow, what a beautiful description. And I love when entrepreneurs get to introduce themselves because for me, I get the essence of who they are, and I just got the essence of who you are from your introduction. So before we get into the deeper conversation and delving into your story, I just again want to go back and focus on the fact that I believe that in the continent, entrepreneurs and especially women are coming into their own. So what do you believe is an attribute that women have that they sometimes downplay?
One of the attributes that I believe that women do have, first of all, I think I recognize women as great achievers. By the very fact that you are a woman and you are able even to manage your family, even at the local, at the village level, I think every woman deserves to be recognized as an achiever. Having said that, I also believe that women have got soft skills which sometimes are not recognized in the corporate world. Yet I know those attributes are what are required in the 21st century. Women are multitaskers. Sometimes I relate with men, and I have men in my organization, and you find that at times they can only focus on one thing. But women, by their very nature, are able to focus on so many things at the same time. Just imagine, even at that very basic level, you are able to take care of a child. At the same time, you are cooking, and at the same time, you are taking care of a husband. Well, that is an attribute, a characteristics that I have learned to respect with women today. And the more I climb up the ladder, I feel those are the characteristics, those are the attributes that will make women even become more successful. I'm not saying that we don't compete with the men. Yes, they are there. But let us focus on what we are good at, because what we are good at is what will make us even more successful.
Yeah. Esther, when you've said that, I just thought of when we were working from home and you sort of have to do, at that point, you're doing homework, you're doing, we do manage a lot. And I guess this, especially now, those roles are, I think, more appreciated now during the disruption we had to go to. As Melinda Gates calls it, it's unpaid work that most women do, but it's hard work. So maybe you can talk to us about, you've alluded to it. How did your background, how did the girl who was Esther, how did all your experiences sort of determine or guide the woman you are today?
I'm always very grateful that I grew up in a family with a dad who believed that we were all equal. And to be honest, I didn't recognize that I am considered as a woman in the corporate world, in the business world, until much, much later in my life. And because of that, I grew up believing that I'm meant for greatness because my immediate environment was actually reinforcing that. And so I know that women are capable of doing and competing in the business, in the corporate world. But it is important that right from the day that they are young girls, we reinforce them. I know we have to walk across cultural barriers, which sometimes will pull us down. But the bottom line is this: given an equal opportunity, I believe that women and the girl child is as capable, if not more capable, than the boy child. And in that statement, I do realize and recognize, especially in our African, and I want to speak on Kenya today, that now the girl is looking much more empowered than the boy child. And I think I want to call us out now to not only focus on the women and the girl child, but I think it's also important to start concentrating on the boy child. So as I grew up from my village, as I grew up in my family, I know and I knew that what I need to do is just to work on myself and believe in myself and reach out and go out for the opportunity as an equal person. And when I did that and gave my very best, when I was in school, I desired and I was determined to be the best student. When I came to the employment world, because I worked for 11 years, I desired to be the best employee, and I put my energy to become the best. What am I trying to say? Women, let's be determined to be our very best, because when you become your very best, the world has no choice. Soon and very soon, it will recognize you and give you a place in the politics, in the corporate world, in the boardroom, and wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. And let me just pull the men in this conversation. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned. There's a lot for you that we have, and we're going to get that into that shortly. So Esther, when we were researching about you and Googling you and going through so much of what Irene mentioned in the beginning, I came across an article you did for a local newspaper that said you were in accounting, so you worked in an accounting or audit firm, and then you started a business, sort of like a shop, and you've grown that into multiple companies. Will you just quickly take us through that journey? How did you start, and how did you get to where you are now?
I think, Naomi, you are right that yes, the article was correct. I can confirm that yes, I graduated from the University of Nairobi with a BCom accounting option. And I always say I did accounting option because accounting option was for the bright student. That tells you I was a bright student. And immediately I came out of the university, I tarmacked like any other person in the streets of Nairobi. However, I was a bit lucky in the sense that if you did get a good grade in the university, audit firms were coming and they were picking us when we are still in the university. So after a little tarmac, I was called by one of the top audit firms in the country, and I was taken in as an audit trainee. And I always say it's very important for me, and I like talking about it because that is the lowest of the rank in a professional firm. And the salary was also not so much because it was 4,000 Kenya shillings, which is equivalent, I think, to either $400 or $40. You can do your mathematics. And this is what I always say. I took that salary with a grateful heart. But there's one thing that I told myself, that these people have given me an opportunity to get into the labor market. because that was important during our days to get into the labor market. Because once you get into the labor market, what really matters after that, it's your efforts. So I then said, with my 4,000 shillings, and at the lowest of the grades in an audit firm, I promised myself that in 6 months, I'm going to double that salary. I know you ask yourself, I was not the partner. Where did I get the confidence and the determination to know that I have the power within myself to achieve the salary that I wanted? I knew there are only two things that I needed to do in the audit firm. One is to pass my professional exam, the CPA exams, and the other one is to bring good audit firms to my immediate boss. And I focus on those two things for the first few years of my career. And so in 6 months, I passed my CPA 2, I did good work, my good fight, and truly, not only did I double my salary, I actually tripled my salary. And from there, I got the confidence that it can be done. And as I walked in that professional career, I wanted and I was determined that I'll become a profit-sharing firm. And I did my 10 years, and the last 3 years were the most challenging years in my professional firm, because I kept on feeling I'm ready to become a profit-sharing firm. But I guess there were politics that at that time were beginning to pray with due respect. And I waited for the 3 years, and I felt, oh my God, my greatness is being oppressed here. And at that time, I was a salaried partner, a good rank, and I was earning good money even then. But then, that's not where I wanted it to be. And on the basis of that, I decided, and which I still believe even today, there comes a time in your life when you got to hold and call back your life to yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I needed to quit, and quitting I did. After that, I did what I thought I was good at. I started a small audit firm. Of course, coming from a major firm and going to a small firm, I knew that was just a stepping stone. And so 5 years I was there, I always joke and say, at least I came up with my first Mercedes-Benz from that 5 years, and I celebrated it and all that. And then after that, the telecommunication came in my country, and some people will say it's luck, but I'm not sure that I like using the word luck. I was there at the right time, and this is what I said. In an industry that I did not know, not that I am an accountant, but I knew at the back of my mind, I wanted to join into what I call direct entrepreneurship. And this opened an opportunity for me. They call it a shop, and yes, it was a shop. From a corporate level, I was now operating at the Dukawala level, where I was the one opening the shop, I was the one selling, I was the one banking, I was the one doing all sorts of things. But I guess that's the price you have to pay if you want to be successful. And for 10 years, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, that's the only thing I did. And why did I do that? Because I knew, coming from where I came from, because my first transaction was Kenya shillings 50,000. And to be honest, after I renovated my shop, that's the only money that I had. And so I knew if I wanted to grow, that is the capital I have to turn around many times, because outside that, I had no other resources. And that defined the way I did my business in the early ages, and even today, it still defines me a great deal. One is the discipline of reinvesting the profits you make back to the business. The next thing that I learned early in my business is to have high level of integrity, because it is because of honesty and integrity that my suppliers started trusting me. And so part of my finances that I used to grow my business, to be honest, is actually I was actually financed by the creditors. And as much as I don't give a lot of credit, I know it is one of the means that you can use to deal with your business. And for 10 years, as I said, I was in telecommunication. Today, we have 4 companies in telecommunication. Why? Because it's the thing that I know to do best. After that, I went into the real estate. And that's an interesting story because as much as today we are in the city center and people recognize that and they have picked it even in the media, my first real estate investment was more plot somewhere in the middle of what we call nowhere. But that is what I could afford then. And this is what I say with due respect. If you want to go into the real estate, please begin to invest early to the extent that you can afford, because my belief is this: you can never go wrong if you do it well and you do it with wisdom and without greed. And I did that for another 3 years or so. I was able to combine my telecommunication business with my real estate because it was not taking a lot of my time. And after that, I realized I can open a new business every 2 years. And that's how I got into investment, into microfinance, into the hospitality industry. And 2019, just before the COVID, we opened 3 companies. And that's what experience can do for you. And when you are consistent and remain there, each one of us, I believe, can build an empire from only one shop.
Oh my goodness, Esther. There's so much to glean from your story. And I love the bravery of acknowledging that where you are, you were not appreciated, in taking the step and actually visualizing where you want to be and taking the step to go there. So something I want to go back to, and you've described it so eloquently when you were talking about how you moved from, opening one business and literally bootstrapping your business from one venture to another. What is the motivation behind building different ventures and getting into investing in different ventures?
For me, from a personal perspective, is that I so much believe in greatness. And once I achieve one level of, let's say, a business, there is one question that will always linger in my mind. What is the next big thing? So I'm constantly looking for opportunities. And when I identify and see opportunity, I pull my mind, my resources, so that I can tap into that opportunity. So for me, the inner motivation and the inner passion that I have of wanting to achieve drives me. But on top of that, there's also something that has got into me of late, and when I look back, I think it has been a driving force. There is nothing that is satisfying me than impacting people. There's nothing that gives me pressure than me knowing I am employing people. So even as I do my businesses today, if the business I am doing is not going to create employment, for me, it is a no-go zone. Some people may think that is sometimes not the right decision, but I think I have come to a position where I know that money is not everything. So if the business you are doing is just about you and it's not impacting on other people, it is not creating employment to other people, it is not creating an ecosystem that is helping other businesses, for me, it gives me no satisfaction, and for me, it is not an achievement. And if it is not an achievement, it doesn't give me satisfaction, surely, why should I do it? So for me, at where I am, It's more about impacting people. And while we are at that, let me tell you something. In the year 2019, I wrote a book, God Give Me My Mountain. And it was followed, it has now been followed by what I would call a workbook and a training manual. We do have classes that we teach people aloud our values and walking them the journey because we believe in our journey. It may not, and it doesn't give me a lot of money. No, it doesn't. But you know what? I feel it's the most satisfying and fulfilling thing that I've done. It's much greater than all the other businesses that I have ever done. Why? When I see the transformation it's having on young men and women, that makes my day. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Talk about
Thank you.
legacy. Dr. Esther, there's so much that we're learning. And I hope the audience that's listening to us is also learning. There's a lot of great comments coming in with a lot of positive comments and sentiments for you, Dr. Esther, with a lot of people saying you are such an inspiration to young people. So that's amazing. And I want to invite you to please share any questions that you might have, anything that you'd like to ask this amazing woman that we've got today. Esther, as we wait for questions to come through, I just want to ask you, what do you believe has been the secret sauce to how you've been able to build your empire? There must be something that you've done right, whether it's with the people that you've employed or the heart that you have for the businesses that you have. What has been that secret sauce to building this amazing empire?
The one thing that I know is what I would call values and principles. Because, and this is one thing that I've said, and I like putting it in record, that at the end of the day, I want to be able to build a community of value-based wealth creators. This is what I mean. We are calling out people to create wealth. We are calling out people to be prosperous because it is good to be prosperous. But for me, it matters how you create that wealth. And so it is very, very important to ensure that as you climb the wall, the lander is leaning on a strong wall. So for me, before I move from one business to the other, I must ensure that the foundation of that business can withstand the test of time. The issue of values is also very significant to me because it influences the decisions that I make on a daily basis. It influences how I recruit, and you know, human resources is very important in a business. It influences how I make my decision on matters the business I get into. To be honest, there are businesses, even if you put on my table, I'll not touch, because if they contradict with my values and my principles, I will not touch them. One of the values that I so strongly believe is a principle of hard work. So if, for argument's sake, you are just seated on a phone and you are just betting for argument's sake, that I do not consider it as a work. And I wouldn't want to be a role model of telling people that you can just sit somewhere, do very little work, and you create money, because I know that is not sustainable. So for me, it is about the values. For me, it's about being able to identify businesses that are scalable, and business that are scalable must involve other people. It is, and also being able to identify the challenges in the business and calling them challenges. In my book, Give Me My Mountain, we call them giants. But this is what we believe, that the giants, the challenges, we must never allow them to swallow us. In fact, we say in GMM, we start for Give Me My Mountain, we swallow the giants. So I know is that being able to live and to remain on your lane, to be consistent and to be focused. That is what I believe has been my main strength. And of course, above all, the fear of God.
Mm-hmm. Well, Esther, I feel like you've taken me back to church. Business school is like a combination of a lot of things. We do have a question here from Yekini, and it just feeds into what you've talked about. Great to hear from you again, Yekini, on YouTube. Is saying, I think this leads to what you call your giants. What's the biggest challenge you faced while setting up your business empire? Maybe you can talk about, Esther, what was the biggest challenge you had to face, and how did you overcome it in a practical way?
The biggest challenge that I've ever had, and which is still my biggest challenge today, is about managing and identifying human resource and the talents that you want into your business. Because I do recognize, especially at where I am, my business cannot grow without the right people behind me, without the right people holding my hand. And where I am as at now, Whereas I've incorporated my children into the business. But even then, we do not have enough hearts, enough eyes, enough legs to be in all our businesses. So the biggest challenges that I continuously face even now is, how do I identify the right talent? How do I keep them focused on growing the business? I honestly do desire that within a short time, I'll be able to sit back and leave my businesses into able hands. And not only my family, but also the management that I have. Each of my business, I can tell you, as at now, it's headed by a general manager who is as competent, probably even more competent than I am in the business. And that is the direction I want to take. Another thing that I'm doing right now, which is also helping me in my growth of my business, is to identify young entrepreneurs, young people who want to set up some businesses, and I join hands with them, one, by investing in their businesses, and also, more importantly, holding their heart until the business is able to progress and stand on its own feet. So I do believe that is the major challenge. Of course, people want us to talk about the capital as a major challenge. I know people want to hear and to recognize capital as a major challenge. But where I sit, and this is what I say, capital, yes, it's important. But I think there are other more important things that you need to put together if you want to grow in your business. For me, the biggest challenge again has been human beings, because human beings are not robots. You've got to treat them right and work with them. Yeah.
And maybe I can say, Esther, enter African Management Institute. Like that's what we exist to do. So maybe we might talk after this conversation and work with your general managers. I see I'll take one more question here from Prosoya, Kenya. I don't know if this is our friend, Mr. Kaburu. Is a frequent viewer we have. They're saying, do you have any particular challenges other than human resource during this time of the pandemic that you want to add on top of that?
Oh, yes. This season has come with its own challenges. Of course, even from, how would I put it, when we were told about the COVID crisis, nobody expected it. And we all, even as the CEO, we panicked. But then we quickly realized that life and businesses must go on. So being able to identify what the new normal is, to be honest, has not been easy. Even what we are taking and talking about working from home, I am a trader. Now, honestly, in most of my business, the issue of working from home was not so easy. It was very difficult. How do you keep the workers still engaged and productive in a way that you are never used? Even me as the CEO, even me as the CEO, I needed to learn how I will manage my businesses from home. So that was very difficult. The other thing that I've learned in this crisis is the culture of saving. And many of us and many businesses, oftentimes we take saving and we allow saving to take a second place. If there is something that I've learned in this COVID season, is how to take saving as a culture and instilling that culture not only from an individual perspective, but even from a corporate perspective. What about diversification? Another thing and another challenge that perhaps along the way we never took it seriously. But now than ever before, we need to take the challenge of diversification and start thinking if another crisis will come. We now do realize some businesses were saved because they were in essential services. If this crisis, and I'm sure there'll be more, would we be able to survive the time? Of course, from a human perspective, honestly, just facing my people and telling them we are having a job cut or a salary cut, that was the most disturbing and hurting thing, the most difficult decision that I had to do. But for the sake of survival, we had to make such tough decisions. And I'm glad now we are there. And as a testimony, to be honest, none of our business totally shut down. And I will forever be grateful to the staff who worked with me in this difficult journey, that we can say today we are on the right path once again.
Wow. I'm sure a lot of businesses are taking notes from your experience, especially during this pandemic. And as we go through the different motions of it, whether we are in different restrictions. So that's really great insight. There's a lot of audience questions coming through. So thank you so much to all the audience that are keeping us engaged. I just want to pull a question. I'll take a couple before we continue the conversation. Immaculate Birungi has a great question. Thank you, Esther. Truly inspired. My question is, each business needs different skills and every new business is like a baby. How do you manage to run the different businesses, your mini babies? How do you manage to take care of all the babies?
That is an interesting one. I can tell you, even in 2021, we have a new company which is called what is it? Super Nutrients. You see, I cannot even mention the name. Super Nutrients Limited. So we believe in creating babies, and it is in our DNA. And yes, it is true that every business may need special skills. If you notice in all my business, apart from the auditing work that I did those many years ago, none of the others was I trained for. So over time, there are certain management skills that you get that are applicable to all the businesses. For example, let's talk of focus and consistency. Whichever business you are, the discipline that you need, the level of work that you need to put, whether you are in telecommunication, whether you are in hospitality, there are certain generally accepted things that you must have, the passion that you have for whatever you are doing. But as far as the skills are concerned, and this is something that entrepreneurs need to know. If you are becoming an entrepreneur because you are trained in a certain things, for example, because you are a hotelier, you want to open a hotel, let me tell you what you become. I think I'll give you an employed entrepreneur. You get? Because entrepreneur is much more than that. It's much more than just having the skills necessary in that business. what I call a true entrepreneur is somebody who is able to identify a problem and pool resources to solve that problem and be ready to take a risk. As long as you are able to do that, as long as you are able to, you want and you are determined to take the sacrifices that an entrepreneur has to make, you will be successful. Look at Richard Branson, who is one of my role models. How many companies does he run? You are talking of my 20. He runs 400 companies, plus or minus, because he has learned to identify the opportunities and to look out for the skills that will run those companies and provide the resources to solve the problems. I strongly believe that's all you need to build businesses and create empires. Thank you.
Oh, wow, Esther, I can't say this enough. There's so much that you're sharing today. And I just want to echo some sentiments from Charles, who is watching from LinkedIn. Greetings from Zimbabwe. I'm thoroughly enjoying the session and lessons from Dr. Esther Muchemi. In addition to the importance of participation and impact of women in the marketplace, it's important for men to embrace and exhibit what are typically termed feminine traits as empathy and a collective versus individual approach. I love that. And I want to bring in Ujenzi Plan's question, because at the beginning of this session, we're talking a lot about women empowerment. I think, men might have felt a little left out, but I want to also, just before I bring out the question, I want to just tell men out there that are watching, there is an opportunity to be allies to women. Women are looking for allies. Women are looking for people in the boardroom who will say, that lady has a seat, allow her the voice, So don't feel left out. You do have a position, you do have a place to play. Ashley, if you could pull that question from Ujenzi. He's asking about whether you have plans when it comes to working with young the boy child. He actually calls it the boy child. So let's just pull that question up. Do you have any programs for the boy child in your organization or in your sphere of influence?
Wow. No, we don't have a clear policy where we are saying that we are going for the boy child. Only that I've noticed something interesting, that the people who follow me on the social media, 65% is a boy who follows me. So I do believe that I'm having an impact on them. Also in my work environment, this is what I want to say, that we give equal opportunity for each and every person. It doesn't matter whether you are a man, it doesn't matter whether you are a woman. As long as you have merit, you have an equal right, an equal opportunity under my employment.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Esther. And in case you're wondering where can you find all these nuggets of wisdom, Esther has a book, Give Me My Mountain. So you might want, their team will help us put that, and we'll be able to share that at the end of the session, and you can be able to see how you can find it. Yeah. So Esther, you like we mentioned in the beginning, have achieved so much, have been recognized across the world, even not just Africa. What's your proudest achievement so far?
Wow. I think my proudest achievement is when I have an impact on people, and when they testify and they come and tell me, Esther, you have impacted and influenced my life. I was awarded, I think sometimes last year, as a champion of people who do their business with honesty and integrity. That, to me, of all the awards I've been given, I think for me, that was very significant. And I'll tell you why. In Africa, it's very difficult to do business because of something we call in my country corruption. And to be able to navigate and be recognized as a business person, as a business leader in such an environment, it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of determination of knowing what you want and how you want it done. So if I can impact people on believing in this, what I call value-based wealth creation, where you create your wealth against values that are generally accepted in the society, I think for me, that is and would be the greatest achievement.
I think you need to win a Nobel Prize, Esther, with that mic drop. That's brilliant. Just as we reflect on the many babies that you are continuously thinking about and bringing to the business arena, what does the future look like for you? You know, as a business person, as an individual, where is your mind at the moment?
As I think I have said earlier on, I am never like saying this is it. Every time I am thinking of what is the next big thing. That is a very important question to me. I do not believe in retirement. What I do believe is that once you achieve a certain achievement, you must be able to leave somebody handling that achievement and going into the next. I am very good at identifying new opportunities and carrying the vision. And you have not asked me one of my weaknesses. You cannot be a person who is building and creating so many businesses and at the same time you are always remaining and hanging on to one. Once I establish and I give direction in one company, I want to go into the next. In fact, if it goes beyond a year and I'm not seeing the direction, I have to call back. I have to call myself back and wonder, is this business that I started a good business? So what am I saying? That the future is great. And notice what I said. I so much believe in my greatness, and not only my personal greatness, but in what my company and my people and everything allowed me can achieve. And when you talk about greatness, indeed our vision is allowed greatness, believing in the greatness of people, all the people that we work with, and believing in bringing the best out of every person. What does that mean? That our vision, our desire is infinite. Because once you achieve one greatness, once you get to the top of one mountain, then you are able to see the next higher mountains. So every time we reach at the top of the mountain, we raise our eyes and our heads and we want to see the next high mountain. That's how I can explain that. So Africa, Kenya is more, Africa is more. Indeed, we desire to be in the world.
Brilliant, brilliant. And Esther, just in concluding the conversation, I just want to ask you, what are you most grateful for?
Wow, what am I most grateful for? I think I am really grateful that I know whom I am and I know what I want to achieve. Because many people struggle for a long time in their lives before they are confident with whom they are. I am grateful that my parents validated me very early in my life. I'm grateful that the people that I've worked with have also validated me, including my children. I remember one time, that is when the Clinton of America was wanting to become the president. And me and my daughter, we were following that closely because we are desiring for a woman to become a president of the greatest nation in the world. So when it did not happen, I was disappointed, with due respect to the Americans and everybody else who was following this. And I remember my daughter wrote me a message because she knew what we were waiting for. And she told me, Mom, I am grateful that you have broken the ceiling for me. And because you have been successful, I will also be successful. So I am grateful that I've had the opportunity to break the ceiling for many women. And because I've been successful as people perceive me, because sometimes I wonder, and I've been given an opportunity to impact on people, I am happy that I've been able to do what I have done. And I will ever be grateful to my parents, to myself, and to God that He has allowed me to be whom I am, and by extension, have an influence and an impact to people around me and across the globe.
Wow. Esther, we usually have this thing where as towards the end, we have so many questions that come in. And because I know some of these people, I know they'll look for me tomorrow, allow me to sneak in one quick question from our friend in Eldoret. He's called Willie Kene. He runs a group of quite large businesses in chemists and pharmacies and all that. So he's asking, Esther, you already have a succession plan for your business to ensure, Esther, do you already have a succession plan for your business to ensure that there's continuity in your business? I know you've talked about how you have general managers lead a business unit, and you've talked about your children. Is there anything else you can quickly add around succession planning?
Yes, I confirm, yes, I am on record as being deliberate on the succession plan. And I do appreciate and recognize from an African setup, it is a very, very difficult something. There are certain communities, for example, I'll quote the Asian community in my country. From a very early age, we have seen that they prepare their children for succession. What we find, and this is what pains me a lot, is when empires come to a complete clash just because the founder has departed. This is what I would ask and call out the African entrepreneurs, that we need to be deliberate. We need to be consultative, including calling out experts who can help us prepare on our succession plan. You know, in Africa, we do not talk about death. It's a taboo in most of the cultures to talk about death. But the truth of the matter is this, that one time or the other, we shall come to the end of this journey. Even simple things like creating a trust, we need to know that that is one of the means that we can use to perpetuate our legacy long after we are gone. Things like writing a will is part of your succession plan, because when you do not clear some of these things, you find that even the children who you thought will become the inheritors of your business are not even anywhere near your succession plan. The other thing that I've learned, and I had the privilege one time to talk to students and parents in one of the universities where this topic was being discussed, I have come to recognize that neither the children nor the parents are actually prepared for the succession. It's like the children feel the business belongs to the parents, and the parents also feel at some point that the children are not ready for for the succession. So one of the things that I've learned over time is to listen to what they do not tell you. And because of that, we walk a journey. It is a journey and it's not an activity. You cannot wait until, for example, your children are 40 years, and that is when you are telling them and talking to them about succession. So I believe there are certain cultural things, there is a certain mindset that we need to correct so that our succession will become a success. There is nothing I dread as imagining that what I have invested in and worked so hard for so many years will come to a complete naught and zero just because I'm not there. If the fear of that is good enough to make you wake up and think of succession, so be it. But we cannot ignore the issue of succession if we want to be remembered as successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah, totally, totally true. And just one last question from Moses, who wants to know, what do you do in your free time? You are a busy woman building an empire, but do you have some downtime, Dr. Esther?
What do I do in my free time? Let me start by saying I am a very, very, very organized person. My days are very, very well planned. And also on top of that, I believe in support system, because without that, you may never, or you may find it very difficult to have what I call a me time. And it's important for entrepreneurs, especially women, to know that you can only be as good as you are to yourself. So even as you want to be to serve people and serve them very, very well, first of all, remember that if you are not okay, you cannot be okay to everybody else. So my day is, I wake up very early. I'll do maybe 4:30 to 5. I will do what I'll call my meditation. My meditation, again, allow me to say this, will include my connection with my God. I believe in health eating. I invest a lot in eating well, because, as they say, your business is as healthy as you are. So it is important even for us to learn to invest in good eating. And then exercise. Yes, it is important to exercise. So during my free time, by the way, is that free time? I don't think it's free time. You have just
Esther just had a light bulb moment that she probably doesn't have free time.
It's sounding like contradiction in terms.
Esther, it's okay. We'll just call it free-ish time. Free-ish time.
Because all of us have 24 hours in a day. So it is up to you to agree on how you use your time. You use your time to feed, you use your time to sleep, you use your time to socialize. And yes, I do exercise. I'm an introvert, so I don't socialize a lot. And I create time for holidays. Yes, I go for my holiday. I think I'm due for one in September. And it is so diarized that today my daughter asked me, Mom, when do I book you a holiday? And I said, I'll confirm, because my September is looking a bit tight, but I create time for all what I need to do so that I can remain healthy. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Esther. Allow us to, I think, because there's someone here who said Esther for president, chances are we'll have you again, and we can continue this conversation. So thank you so much for your time. And for the audience, in case you'd like to get a copy of Esther's book, she's written all that wisdom in her book, do follow her on social media. I believe that's Dr. Esther Muchemi, and we'll be able to put that on the chat. But across social media platforms, you can be able to like her pages, follow her, and she'll continue with that, with those conversations. So thank you so much, Esther, and thank you to our audience for engaging us, indulging us. And like I mentioned at the very beginning, if you're not yet part of AMI, feel free to join this ambitious community of entrepreneurs from across the continent. Like you saw here, we have people from Zimbabwe, from Zambia, from South Africa, from Kenya. So we come together to learn, and our flagship program is the Survive to Thrive program, and you can be able to learn more about that program. Details are on your screen and also on the comment section. Would love to support your business to thrive during this period. And scholarships are available for a limited time, so come and let us help you build your empire. Yeah. So again, I just want to thank Esther and her whole team. What she did not tell you is that there's a team behind her. I want to thank Jeremy and all those people who made this session possible with Esther today. She really is very efficient with her time. I want to thank you, the most important person, our audience, for taking the time of your evening. And also remember to like our social media pages for you to get notified. We do this every single month, every third Thursday of the month. So, but just like our social media pages and you'll be able to be notified on AMI, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can subscribe all those places, and you'll be able to also get informative content that will support your business as well. Yeah. So until next time, we have been your hosts, Irene and Naomi. Thank you again and have a lovely evening. God bless.